I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hi, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, re-reviews, commentaries, randomness, news, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Cold Moon, which is a film I had never heard of from around 2016. Other places say 2017. So I'll put 2017 just for the sake of argument. It's directed by a guy named Griff First, who's actually the son of Stephen First, who sadly passed away a few years ago. Stephen First, who was in Animal House. He was the deputy working with Chuck Norris in Silent Rage. He's been in other films too. And again, his son, Griff First, became a director. He directed a lot of wanty sci-fi channel asylum films, although he did direct I Am Omega with Mark Dacascos, which is the only asylum film I've ever liked. Because Mark Dacascos, he's fighting zombies, he's using nunchucks in one scene. Wish there was more of it, but okay, with the budgets they have, minuscule, dealing with zombies, that's more, they're more capable of that compared to whatever the hell else the asylum does. Giant snakes, giant tarantulas, giant clown tornadoes, whatever the hell they do. I don't think that's asylum, but whatever the hell. Sci-Fi Channel, all that jazz. But he directs this, and it's a pretty decent film. It's a pretty decent flick where it deals with this lady that gets killed, vengeance from beyond the grave, certain person getting his comeuppance, which is well deserved. And what's interesting about the film is the cast. Josh Stewart, as he's, I guess you would call him the lead, I guess, because Josh Stewart, he played Arkin, the lead guy in The Collector and The Collection. He's been in other films as well. I enjoy him as an actor. He did a good job in this. So, nice to see him in another movie role. Playing different type of character. Christopher Lloyd, who I recently saw in Nobody, which is a fun film. Of course, for Back to the Future. Sadly, he's not in the film too much. He plays a character who's in a wheelchair. And he appears in a handful of scenes. He plays Josh Stewart's dad. Candy Clark, from the remake of The Blob. She played the waitress in that. Got the death scene in the phone booth. Candy Clark is in this as a victim's mother. Frank Whaley, who I remember, he was in this film called Career Opportunities. He was the star of that from the 90s. He was in Vacancy. He played Harvey Oswald in Oliver Stone's JFK. He's popped up from time to time. He plays the sheriff. Interesting choice. Yeah, I like him as an actor. Pretty much what the deal is this woman who's the... Not... I take that back. She wasn't the daughter. She's the, I think, granddaughter of Candy Clark's character. Or... Yeah, I think because they call her grandma. Yeah, because Candy Clark is called grandma. I apologize. It takes place in 1989. I do wonder why they specifically have it take place in 1989. I guess just to be different. But she's about teenage, riding home from school. She's riding home. It's in Florida. She just knocked off her bike, and there's a masked assailant that pushes her off the bridge, jumps down with her, and drowns her. And there's a killer on the loose, and then Candy Clark she starts getting these visions where she finds out who the killer is. So granted, it doesn't really work as well as a mystery, because about 25 minutes in, and you may be able to figure out earlier, but literally about 25 minutes in, they tell you who the killer is. Because then, for the second half of the film, it's in the point of view of the killer. And then it's the killer getting his comeuppance from these ghosts. So again, at least compared to other supernatural films, they made it at least a little bit different. It seemed like something that would be like a Tales from the Crypt episode, or that type of thing. You know, or I guess think of that Sedman Creep Show with Leslie Nielsen, although that was more comedic. Spoiler alert, you find out that the killer is Josh Stewart. And that's what I mean. Spoilers throughout. It was interesting because that's the thing. I was stumbling around because I'm like, how much do I give the film away? Because this is a movie that it's not really that well known. I'm sure people who saw this review, they've never heard of this movie. So it's like, how much do I give it away? Like I said, it's about 20 minutes in when they give that away. And then Josh Stewart starts seeing things. And once in a while, the effects are a bit hokey. Like a ghost with a snake coming out of the mouth. That was a bit hokey. I don't think you needed the snake coming out of the mouth. I think that made it a bit goofier than scarier. Funny enough, I believe one of the guys who wrote the film or came up with the story, maybe it was based on his book, I believe, helped write Beetlejuice. Which is ironic because there's a scene very quickly where it seemed like a figure with a snake head, which reminds me of the bit where Beetlejuice was a snake. In that bit, I'm like, was that a reference to that? Or again, I'd never seen before or since. And that's when that's a bit hokey as well. But then there's other moments that worked pretty decent for a low budget. To spoil a couple of them. And I know I'm going all over the place. I apologize. This is not the best review. I'll give you that. I will say this: if the cast interests you, you can do a lot worse. Again, it's not a film I rush out to see. It's not a film I love so much I'll give my collection. But it was all right. Yeah, because I like Josh Stewart. Like to see him give a bit of a different kind of performance. The ending worked fine for what it needed to be. Not too bad. And again, some of the ghost effects, like there's a bit where Josh Stewart, he stops his car at a railroad track, train's going by, and he can see through, and there's like a lady sitting on the railroad cross side. And it's kind of a subtle image, and then when it fully passes by, she's gone. There's a bit where the ghost, who was the ghost of the girl at the beginning, she was riding her bike, but the bike is gone. So I thought, wow, this is a really good looking shot of a ghost moving a bicycle that doesn't exist. So you have a ghost in midair, but she's moving along the veins of a bicycle. Well, okay, that's a pretty clever visual idea that I haven't seen too much. I think for a low budget, it was done in a decent, effect-wise manner. There's another bit where Josh Stewart is in front of a coffin and it rises out of the grave and it kind of stands upright. And then you get this big explosion and pushes Josh Stewart back. I'm like, oh, dude, that was a pretty damn decent scene. And I will admit there are certain moments I did not see coming that I did not expect. So, extra spoilers. What happens to Candy Clark and the guy who was the dead girl's brother? I did not expect them to go out as quickly as they did and the way they did. Because I expected them to be the lead, and it's Candy Clark and the guy versus Josh Stewart, and it's Candy Clark trying to prove how guilty this guy is, and trying to see if the sheriff, Frank Whaley, will get a clue, because Frank Whaley's thinking it's this other guy that has him as a suspect. But no, they get a lawyer, they're coming home, they got smiles on their faces, they stop at a bridge, and then boom, a masked assailant, who is Josh Stewart, kills them, cuts one guy's head off, and stabs Candy Clark, and kills her. I'm like, I didn't expect that. Now, I will say with the ghosts, at first it's mainly the ghost of the girl that died, that was drowned. But the ghost revenge comes at a pretty damn heavy price, because a lot of other innocent people get killed because of this ghost revenge. And part of me is like, what's taking you so fucking long to get your revenge on Josh Stewart? You're a ghost. Well, you got a ghost, you got ghost kryptonite, you can't do anything? Or your version of kryptonite, so you can't do certain things? If you didn't make the fucking coffin rise up and explode, make it explode in Josh Stewart's face and kill him there. Like, what are you waiting for? That's always the thing with these kind of movies. If a ghost can do this, why can it do this but not this? Why can it do that but not that? That's always the questions that arise in these kind of films. Like, what are the powers of a ghost? They can do this, but they can't do that. And again, the heavy price where Candy Clark gets killed. Technically, the dead ghost brother, as well as her grandma, Candy Clark, they're dead. Others, they don't get killed, but they get hurt. There's one girl named Belinda, gets her face fucked up to the point she needs reconstructive surgery. I'm like, wow, because this one girl's vengeance doesn't seem worth it almost. It seems like the price was too high to pay for that. Maybe that's just me. Sorry. I choked because I almost forgot. For some out of the blue reason, Tommy Wiseau from The Room has a cameo in this. He's in one scene when the town's having a fair, and there's Tommy Wiseau in the distance, and he's like a guy who has a snake, and then the other guy takes the snake, and you hear Tommy Wiseau go, "You're tearing him apart." I'm sitting there going, why is this in the movie? The character never pops up before or since. It just seemed out of the blue. It kind of took me out of the movie. Because then it reminded me of The Room, which is a bad movie. And to me, it's a movie I'm tired of hearing about. I like The Disaster Artist. James Franco made it. There's other bad movies I enjoy more than The Room. And The Room, again, it's one of those movies that its infamy of fame kind of... Now it's a catch-22 where I'm just tired of people... I'm tired of hearing about it. Again, there's plenty of good movies that don't get talked about as much as The Room, the bad movie. I'm like, just Bright with Will Smith, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1, the original April Fool's Day, Uncommon Valor. Those don't get talked about as much. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. They don't get talked about as much as The Room. And in my opinion, I think they're good movies. So I don't know. The whole, again, Tommy Wiseau cameo just seemed very out of the blue and unnecessary. Just unnecessary to me. Like I said, Christopher Lloyd, he doesn't really have much to do, which is disappointing. Certain questions of logic, like Josh Stewart at one point is going to type a note because he's going to kill Christopher Lloyd's character. He doesn't. He gets out in time, but he's typing, and I don't think he had gloves. I'm thinking, but maybe that's why it was 1989, because I'm thinking, wouldn't they pull the fingerprints? But yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why they put in 1989 to delay questions like that. But yeah, the change of perspective, where the second half is from Josh Stewart's character, who we know is the bad guy, we know is the killer, and most of the time he's drinking or trying to get drunk and trying to make an appearance, a facade, framing this other guy so that he'll take the fall, getting one of his relatives, who's a scrawny, younger guy, to help him take care of these two other bodies, including Candy Clark's body, hide the evidence. It wasn't what I expected, but that was kind of refreshing to go on that different change of pace. And like I said, Josh Stewart, I do think is an underappreciated actor, and I liked seeing the movie. And the last time I saw him was this found footage film called The Hunted, which I thought was a waste of time. I'm like, the idea could be interesting, but the ending and the little that happens in the second half just went down the toilet for me. This, despite some hokey effects, at least there's stuff happening. I said, like, the girl riding the bike that's not there, and the coffin exploding in front of Josh, and Frank Whaley being a sheriff, that's an interesting casting choice. And like I said, it was nice to see Josh Stewart play this kind of role. He played it fairly well. Big fan of the guy. So, if you don't know who he is and don't care, maybe you won't feel the same way as I do. So like I said, it's like I don't give ratings to every movie I review, but out of 5, this would be like a 3-star movie. Like I said, it's nothing too remarkable. Some of the hokiness I wish was brought down a bit. Sometimes the music, when they find the dead body of the teen early on, the music is so over dramatic that you're waiting for it to go dun dun dun. Okay, that could have been done a bit more subtle. Same with the ghost. Like, you can have the ghost, don't have a fucking snake come out of his mouth. Yeah, certain points of subtlety would work better. And then the bigger stuff, like the coffin, the go with the bike, that works effective too. It would have been nice to see more Candy Clark, because I do like her as an actress. It was surprising that she gets killed off, and gets killed off so early in the film. But yes, I would like to have seen her more. Maybe you kill off the one other guy, and that would be a surprise. And then Candy Clark's distraught, and then she wants revenge, and maybe the spirits are fucking with Josh Stewart, but they're also leading Candy Clark to where she needs to go to help let the public know what kind of guy Josh Stewart is. So, because that's the thing, once she's gone, there's really not much to root for. Like, Frank Whaley, I like as an actor. His character, I don't know if I call him an idiot, but he's just kind of just behind what's going on throughout the whole movie. And when he finds out about stuff, it's too late to do anything about it. So it's like the audience is well ahead of you, Frank Whaley. So it's not because the performance, just the character, the written, just he does kind of come out as a fool. Just so it's okay, there's not really a whole lot to root for. Again, the ghosts, maybe you root for them because they want their revenge, but I'm like, the beginning ghost after the teen's death, the big heavy price to pay. Like, why didn't you stop Candy Clark from getting killed? Why didn't you stop your own brother from getting killed? Why didn't this happen? Why did you make it be like this one girl comes out of the swimming pool, this blended girl, and then Josh Stewart sees this ghost and beats the shit out of her, then wakes up as that's someone else? Why did that girl deserve it? Yeah, she was going out with Josh Stewart, but she didn't deserve to get her face so beaten up that she needs reconstructive fucking surgery. So it's hard to even root for the ghost for doing that. Some of that shit. Like Kenny Clark, I think the one guy's name was Jerry. Their deaths, Blenda's face. There's a pretty heavy price to pay. So even the ghost is kind of a dick. In this case, a bitch. So there's certain issues with the story. But like I said, the cast, there's some decent parts of the story. Then the focus on Jon Stewart's character was at least a little bit more unique compared to other stuff. Then the ending, where guy gets his comeuppance, it has that Tales of the Crypt bit of feel to it. It seemed like a lot of those Tales of the Crypt episodes was about something or someone getting their vengeance or someone getting their comeuppance, so to speak. It doesn't have a sequel bad ending or any of that crap. So yeah, overall, for what it was, didn't mind Cold Moon. It was okay. I thought it was an okay film. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.